Welcome to Unit 4, Lesson 14, more arithmetic with complex numbers, practice problems. Okay, select all. Here is a key word, all, means there's more than one possible answer that are equivalent to 8 plus 16i. Equivalent means it looks different, but it has the same value. So we're going to calculate all of them to see which ones are equivalent. Okay, so I color-coded them in a different color so you know which ones go with which. So in blue, we're going to do 2 times 4 and 2 times 8. Because the 2 is outside, it has to get distributed. We get 8 plus 16i. So A works as a possibility. B, I'm going to distribute. We get 16i minus 2i times 4i is 8i squared. But I squared is negative 1. So negative 1 times negative 8 is positive 8 plus 16i. So B works. C, distribute the 4. You get 8i minus 16. That is not equivalent. All right, so distribute your 4. You get 16i minus 8i squared. We know I squared is negative 1. So that gives us 8 plus 16i. So D works. And for E, 16i, negative 2 times negative 8 is 16. Bring the I over. Negative times negative is positive, so that's plus 8i squared. I squared is negative 1, so we get negative 8 plus 16i. And the reason why I switched the real numbers around is because when you write a complex number, the real number always gets written first. So we see A, B, and D are the ones that are equivalent. They look different, but they had the same value. Okay, which expression is equivalent to negative 4 plus 3i times 2 minus 7i? So we're going to distribute. So what I'll suggest you do is draw your distribution arrows. So the negative 4 gets distributed twice, bringing us negative 8. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 4 times negative 7 is positive 28i. Then positive 3i times 2 is 6i. And 3i minus 7 is negative 21. I times I makes I squared, but that's negative 1. So you get negative 8. Like terms, combine your like terms. Plus 34i plus 21. 21 minus 8 is 13 plus 34i, which gives us D as the best answer. Okay, they want us to match the equivalent expression. So I distribute the I squareds. I get 3i squared plus I cubed. I squared is negative 1, so in the next line I did 3 times negative 1 minus I, because I cubed is negative I. And 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 minus I. So this is my final answer for A. Now, let's go to B. This is a negative outside of a thing, so I got to distribute the negative first, which gives me negative 10. That one won't right, because I'm crushing this in the middle. So I distribute. I get negative 10 minus 4i plus. All right, so when we add real numbers, I'm going to put one over here in blue. Put your reals together and put your imaginaries together. This leaves with negative 7 plus 1i. So that's number 1. All right, so for B, multiply these, you get negative 20i squared. I squared is negative 1, so this becomes negative 20 times negative 1, which equals negative 20. Okay, let's see what B does. There's no sign in between them, which means we have to multiply. So I'm going to put 2 down here. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8i. 4i times 2 is positive 8i. And then 4i times negative 4 is negative 16i squared. So the 8 i's cancel out. You're left with plus 16 because I squared is negative 1. A negative times a negative is positive. So that equals 20. So B and 2 match. B and 2 match. All right. We haven't found a match for A and 1 yet. So let's go down to the next one. Distribute the 5i to both things. You get 20i minus 15i squared. I squared is negative 1. So that becomes 15 plus 20i. Okay. There's a plus in between. So what we're going to do with number 3 is put the reals with the reals. 1 minus 4 plus negative 4i plus 3i, which gives us negative 3 plus, nope, not plus, 4 is bigger, minus i. All right, so 3 matches with A, so let's do that now. 3 matches with A, so you got negative 3 minus I. Okay, let's see what D does. We got to multiply. 1 times negative 1, 1 times 3i. We got negative 1 plus 3i, and then negative 2i minus 2i. 2i times 3 is plus 6i squared. That becomes negative 6, because I squared is negative 1. Negative 1 and negative 6 make negative 7 plus 1i, which is just plus I. I know I saw that somewhere before. All right, so D matches with 1. D matches with 1. All right, so that leaves C and 4. So, but let's do the math on 4 anyway. So first things first, distribute your negative. So this becomes plus 21 plus 8i. Okay, now put your reals with your reals. So for number 4, put your reals with your reals. And your imaginaries with your imaginaries. And we get negative 6 plus 21, or 21 minus 6 is 15. 12 plus 8 is 20i. And we got 12 plus 20, 15 plus 20i. So they work. C and 4. Okay, so a negative is outside. Distribute negative. That's the first thing you do. So write plus negative 2 minus 5i. The reason why I draw the distribution arrows is because I want to make sure that you distribute everything. Distribution means multiply to everything inside. So now after we rewrote everything, put your reals together. Put your imaginaries together. Negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. 3 minus 5 is negative 2i. I almost wrote a plus there. Okay, distribute means pass out to everything inside. So 7i times 4 is 28i minus 7i squared. But we know I squared is negative 1. Negative 7 times negative 1 becomes positive 7. So we get 7 plus 28i. Okay, 3i cubed. So 3 cubed times I cubed. 3 cubed is 27. I cubed is negative I, so that's I negative. So the answer is negative 27i. All right, so now with this one, we got to multiply. So 3 times 4, 3 times 3. 12 plus 9i. 5i times 4, 5i times 3. 20i plus 15i squared. I squared is -1. So that's 12 minus 15 plus 9i plus 20i, -3 plus 29i. All right, and finally, 3 times -2 times 4. -6 times 4 is -24. I times I times I is I cubed. There are 3 of them. When multiplying, just add the exponent. I cubed is -I, so this equals positive 24i. Okay, let's look at this equation. All right, so the 10 is not part of the group. So anything under the radical is considered a group. So we subtracted 10 from both sides, we get the next line, square root of 5 plus x is equal to -4. A square root cannot be equal to a negative, so that means there's no real solutions, but this week we learn how to solve this one. A square root cannot be equal to a negative. It will be an imaginary number, which is a complex solution, and they did not account for that here. But anyway, the least you could do is stick 11 back in to the original problem. 5 plus 11 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. 4 plus 10 is not 6. So that did not work on either occasion. All right, here we go. Solving some more. We get 12 minus 4i. Adding reals with reals, imaginaries with imaginaries, which gives us 12 plus 0i, or just 12. Okay, we know we have to multiply on C because there's nothing in between the parentheses, the two groups. So draw your double distribution arrows. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times I is I. 3i times 4 is 12i. And 3i times I is plus 3i squared. So I squared is -1, so we get 4 minus 3 plus 13i, which gives us 1 plus 13i. Okay, distribute. We get 3i plus 5i squared. I squared is -1, so you get -5 plus 3i. And then coming back around, 2i times is 14i squared, which gives us -14, because I squared is -1, plus 0i, which equals -14. All right.